Big 49ers update here from the Green Hill Winery, golden hour in Northern Virginia. There's the vineyard. There's the sunset. Here's the 49ers news. Dre Greenlaw, according to Trent Williams, was running on the side of the 49ers practice field with a helmet on today. Now, to update you on Dre Greenlaw, the 49ers had said that he probably wouldn't be ready this week to come back from the Achilles tear suffered in the Super Bowl, but that they would move him to a week-to-week basis following the bye week. And it's now officially following the bye week. So I would expect the 49ers to check back in and evaluate Dre Greenlaw next week. And if he's running with a helmet on now on the side field for the 49ers, he's getting closer and closer and closer for this football team. Also at practice today, Jauan Jennings for the 49ers. He's missed a couple games ever since he got hurt on that third down slant pattern against Seattle. Hip injury for Jauan Jennings, but back out at practice now for the 49ers. This is a critical piece for San Francisco. He's among the NFL league leaders in yards per route run. A lot of that spearheaded by the huge performances against the Rams and then against the Patriots. So Jauan is definitely somebody that the 49ers need with Brandon Ayuk no longer available this season. He's going to be picking up a lot of that slack for the 49ers. Great separator, great blocker, huge part of this 49ers offense. Another update today from practice is that Jon Feliciano, the offensive lineman who started for the 49ers down the stretch last year, started in the Super Bowl at right guard. He had a knee operation that has kept him out of this season so far. Jon Feliciano is back at practice for San Francisco. He's been ready, according to Feliciano himself, for a couple weeks at this point. But the 49ers have been waiting for the right time. They are not looking at a potential starting spot right away for Jon Feliciano. They think that he's going to be the ideal sixth offensive lineman for this team. And they feel that now the time is right to open up that practice window for Jon Feliciano, just like they did for Christian McCaffrey. And that means that they're going to have 3 weeks now to actually activate Feliciano to the 53-man roster. If you don't activate him within 3 weeks, and that's what, November 25th, since it's November 4th right now, if it doesn't happen within 3 weeks, then that means the season is over for Feliciano. Same thing for Christian McCaffrey, but I would expect the 49ers to activate both of them before that 3 weeks' time. As far as the offensive line goes, I think it's been severely underrated by outsiders and 49ers fans alike. Maybe even more underrated by 49ers fans than by outsiders. But the 49ers are pass blocking much better than they were last year. The composite pass protection scores for San Francisco say number 8, which to me is absolutely remarkable considering they're in the 20s last year. And every single one of the 49ers starting offensive linemen, from Trent Williams at left tackle to Aaron Banks at left guard, Jake Brendel at center, Dominic Pooney, who's taken over right guard, and Colton McKivitz at right tackle. Every single one of these offensive linemen has an above average run blocking grade score. So they're not looking for immediate help amongst any of the starting 5 offensive linemen. But as I've always said, you have to have at least 7 bodies, preferably 8 capable bodies along the offensive line. And Jon Feliciano obviously gives the 49ers one such option. He ultimately took over the right guard spot last year when they were really struggling there with Spencer Burford. And I think this season there's a lot of consternation from 49ers fans when people talk about Jake Brendel at center. But Brendel started the season off rough. I mean, it was tough for Jake Brendel over the first couple weeks. But remember, knee tendonitis was something that he was limited by over the course of the offseason. Jake Brendel's playing a lot better football now. He's an above average pass protector now for the 49ers. If Brendel has to, miss time, if he is again bothered by the knee tendonitis down the stretch, then Jon Feliciano is a good insurance policy for the 49ers. But I really think that they're looking at him as a 6th offensive lineman. They've made that clear. And there's no rush to bring him back into the fold, at least as long as the 49ers' current starting 5 on the O-line remains healthy. We're also going to keep our eye out for Jake Moody this week. Jake Moody, the kicker, did not go to injured reserve for the 49ers because they didn't want to have to take up another return from IR activation spot. They only have 8 of those, but they expected him to be ready from the high ankle sprain around week 10 coming out of the bye week. So that obviously the clock is ticking and it's getting closer to that return for Jake Moody. When we talk about the return from IR activation spots, the 49ers only have 8 of those, and they've already used one on Kalia Davis. They already used one on Ricky Pearsall. If Christian McCaffrey comes back into the fold for the 49ers, that's going to have to be a return from IR activation for San Francisco as well. And of course, Jon Feliciano is on injured reserve right now, so they have to save one for him. Moving into the future, somebody like Javon Hargrave, the defensive tackle, they think he could be ready for the postseason coming off the torn tricep. So that's yet another activation the 49ers might have to use. Yetur Gross-Matos. I mean, I've already listed about 6 guys that the 49ers can bring back from injured reserve, and we're only on week 10 right now in the NFL season. So it's important for the 49ers to use their discretion with those activations, and it's also important for them to use their discretion with who they place on IR. And they have not placed Jake Moody on IR for that reason. As far as the big activation today, or the big practice window opening and the activation that we do anticipate, the 49ers definitely think that Christian McCaffrey will be able to play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if all goes well this week. That's the key. All does have to go well this week for Christian McCaffrey. It's about keeping inflammation down, because that, tendinitis shows itself through that inflammation. And McCaffrey has been able to keep the inflammation non-existent through the ramp-up period, but now the ramp-up period has intensified to actual practice. And with that being the case, he's going to have a little bit more strain on his body over the course of the next few days. The 49ers are going to take Tuesday off. That is the trade deadline. Do they make a move? Possibly. Is that something that we would expect, or something that is certain? Absolutely not. I would say that it's been a 50-50 chance, just depending on what the 49ers might run into from a price standpoint, because they have to balance multiple interests, right? You have to make sure that you keep things sustainable, and you also have to make sure that whoever you might acquire can help the football team right now. But they're going to take Tuesday off as the front office finalizes this trade deadline stuff. 1 p.m. Pacific time is the deadline. Then they'll return on Wednesday for the first official practice of Tampa Bay Buccaneers week against Tampa Bay on Sunday. That's a 10 a.m. Pacific time game. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, McCaffrey, Feliciano, all those guys will be out on the practice field, and then we'll see what the 49ers do as far as activations go. They can activate McCaffrey and Feliciano most likely on Saturday if everything goes well with those guys this week. All right, that's the update here from the Green Hill Winery in Virginia. We'll get the vineyards and the sunset back behind me again. Beautiful afternoon here. Daylight savings time has ended. Those of you who voted that you liked daylight savings time the other day when we talked about it, unfortunately, it's over. We are now officially in the fall, but there certainly are some beautiful colors here in the fall. Big 49ers update. A lot of good news as this team is healing up moving into November.